All right, let's get started. It is a wonderful Wednesday evening here at IBS, and I want to introduce to you Sue Wadden. Thanks for being here, Sue. Sue is Director of Color Marketing for Sherwin Williams. She's responsible for the overall vision and philosophy for color leadership at Sherwin Williams and plays a key role in leading major world color trend forecasting for both designers and homeowners. So this should be a great session, and I'm going to hand it off to Sue.
And yes, I'm the one that gets to name the colors. So everybody always asks, that's my job, which is very fun. So this is our annual color trend forecast. We talk about colors every year, and this is Terra. This is our 2023 forecast. Terra is representative of directional color. So where we're seeing whites go, where are we seeing browns go, where are yellows, what's warming up? Everyone's talking about grays out the door, right? What's going to replace that? So this forecast sort of tells that story, but we curate it into 4 collections. So we'll have some fun talking about materials and finishes, and we'll talk about these key color directions, but here's a little video to sort of introduce. So 2023, we start with 40 colors. So that's like our core makeup of colors. So we wanted to track like what's blue doing, what's green doing. I think this decade, I don't know if you guys would agree, but green is the color of this decade. It's really risen out of COVID and really taken a main stage in all sorts of ranges. So we'll talk a little bit about that. We'll key into our color of the year for a moment. Our color of the year is red and point, which is a sort of a baked clay terracotta tone, but we'll talk about why we selected that color. And so I'll give you those insights. And then we'll go into the 4 key palettes. So Biome is a palette of nature-inspired hues. Lore is about craft and tradition. Sort of a more like aged and baked palette of colors. Nexus is sort of about good energy, and Origin is about sort of the hybrid lifestyle that we're living. We tell a story because it's more fun, right? When we were talking about these collections of color, it's helpful to sort of weave this storytelling angle. But Biome is really about sustainability. You can see the colors here are very natural. We know from everywhere look at this show, I feel like nature is inspiring so many interior and exterior finishes. So we'll key on these key colors, but you can see this array of watery blues and greens, and then really, really warm neutrals and browns. Browns are a key color direction in 2025 and something that you should really pay attention to. From a trend perspective, we key into like macro themes. So what is guiding these colors? We don't just like pick colors out of the sky and say, oh, I like blue, you know? It's really based on research. So we talked a lot about biophilic influences, nature's responses. We talked about sustainable systems, really the organic nature of products and where sustainability is going to take us as key influences for Biome. This section is really our material report. So like we pulled together some of the things that we're seeing across the industry. Things like bioinnovation. Bioinnovation is going to take things in a totally new direction, from hard surface to tile to carpeting. We really see kind of the organic compounds and natural environment really influencing product design. This is a great slide to show terrazzo. Terrazzo is an inherently natural product, right? It's taking one substrate and sort of integrating it into another. But we're seeing it done in different ways and unique finishes and surfaces, from furniture to accessories. And that's a floor design. Amplified organics, you see natural shape and form on everything. So lots of inspiration. This is mostly for residential design, not so much here at the show, but when you walk through KBIS, you see those natural influences on everything. Lots of stone and marble, so natural surfaces are everywhere. Now we're seeing like monolithic slab formation, so large stone installations. It's not like little details, it's large stone and slab. But here we're showing it with really natural watery tones. Lots of wood. Wood is everywhere in all sorts of configurations. That's going to continue, and it's not just flooring. It's in material and accessories and products. So wood will continue. I don't know that we are going to see a stop. What's interesting here is the inlaid and the fusion of multiple colors of wood together. Again, it's a natural product. People love it and have a strong relation to it. This is from our wood team. This is sort of a snapshot of where wood trends are going in their world in furniture. So no grays here, right? No driftwood, none of that. We're really, really warming up and going to a level that's sort of nature inspired, but much darker. I dare say like espresso tones. For those that remember espresso, it's starting to come back in a little bit in the vocabulary, which I didn't think we'd ever see that again. Bio-innovation, again, I've seen some products when we were walking through, like bioengineered, plumbing products, right? Taking plastics and forming them into surfaces that are sustainable. It's the wave of the future. It's where design is going to go, and you're going to continue to see that. Watery surface, again, the reference here is organic natures, watery tones, surface and finish. Fine lines, this is more of a pattern play, but again, that repetition of nature, that idea of biophilia. Botanical trace, this is obviously in pattern and textiles, but very minimalist here, but very beautiful and subtle, but again, natural and organic. This slide I love to put in because it's so crazy. This is from a trend report out of Paris. So this is like new products that are coming out of Paris Design Week, and it's like using shells and recycled waste from fisheries and putting them on interior projects. So like just wild, but like fun to see. And then again, bio-made, right? All of these materials, that's really where design is going to take us in the future in all sorts of ways. So the next couple slides, I just pulled in some references of these colors in action in interior spaces. So again, kitchens, it's not just about white and gray kitchens now. You're going to start to see a lot more color on cabinetry. Again, that mix of color and finish is really important. Exteriors and interiors, there's a very dark transition. So it's, in many ways, often super light or super dark. And again, that like resurgence, like deep dark bronze tones, they're kind of movie. They're sanctuary spaces. So that's going to continue. Natural materials, wood tones, views to the outside. Like who wouldn't want to live in this house? It's stunning. But again, this idea of like cabin living, right? 2 enclosures with a connection space, indoor, outdoor, those will continue. Dramatic veining in stone. Again, flagstone pavers. I love this slide because I haven't seen this in a long time. Like slabstone floors, they're very beautiful. So those are going to start to come back in. Greens are super important. They're not going anywhere anytime soon. I love this installation. Again, like monolithic slab, marble and heavy veining. Like we haven't seen heavy veining. It was almost like we wanted everything Carrara marble. So just a whisper of veining. Now it's really strongly coming back in. Again, wood tone, natural organic materials sort of layered together, very textural. I love that. That's a light fixture, a Camilla War. But again, these darker colors on exteriors, and if we have time for questions, I'd love to get your feedback as designers in this space. Like, where do you see white and black exteriors going? Is it just a moment in time, or are we really going to continue? I'm curious of your input on that. Again, even from the minimalist space, these are warm, minimalist interiors, but very rich and very beautiful. Greens. So that was biome. So our second palette is lore, and this was really about like the inspiration of craft and tradition. We talk about that as being an important influence, the sort of bohemian vibe, right? The global vibe of design. Well, this is continued here in this lore palette, but the colors are really richer. You get this, like these warmer, richer reds, these ochre, like oxidized natural reds. They're not very bright, but they're really, really usable. And at the end of this, I'll show you one of the colors I absolutely love, and I love it for interiors right now. Influences, again, the idea of craft and tradition, where we're seeing like makers, like coming out of the pandemic, everybody was crafting and doing things, and everyone's on TikTok, and designers are like, we're going to just do this. I don't know how to do it, but we're going to do it. And so this idea of this maker tradition is really going to continue. And we're seeing it in all sorts of like a fusion of global influences, again, with these beautiful rustic colors. So like this, I mean, this is like needlepoint, right? These are old patterns, but they're sort of reinterpreted in a modern and fresh way. Again, I love this slide. This is like brand new luxury fabric, right? And it looks like, you know, grandma's needlepoint. So again, this idea, the grand millennial thing, right? That's still going to continue on, but it looks a little earthier. African pattern, you know, that's carpeting, accessories, and wall covering, right? That is a rhythmic nature and design that's not going anywhere. The wood tones are really rich, almost tropical in vibe. So you get that sort of global spice here. Obviously, tropical influences. This is some reporting from a French report that's talking about Brazilian hardwoods like being really, really important in Paris right now. So I think ultimately those things come across and they translate here. Collage cutouts, so like the super graphic sort of 80s inspiration in pattern. Oxidized lots of metals. When you walk through the show, you see metals everywhere, but it's not just one thing. It's not just polished nickel. It's black, it's white. It's gold, it's copper, it's all of that sort of glowing fusion together. All the tiles look handcrafted, handmade. There's nothing that's super perfect. You see the artisan quality to these products. And again, some of these motifs, you know, we haven't talked about Brazilian design like maybe ever in my career doing this. So it's interesting that this is sort of peeking back in, these Latin influences. Again, here more of these tribal patterns. And then we'll talk about, I'll show you some slides. So these are like really, really unique applications, but they're very beautiful just to show like this emergence into color. People are, you know, getting really creative. They're not afraid. This is a little over the top maybe for every day, but it just shows like people are not afraid anymore. They want color in their life, and it's time that we take a little risk again. You know, beautiful global influences, like lots of natural materials, caning. I love this furniture is beautiful. Heirloom craft, sort of inlays. You know, these are really expensive, high-end luxury pieces of furniture that are really with these global motifs. This is a project in the Flamingo Estate in Los Angeles. I super love it. So cork on the wall, warm finishes, sort of 80s modern, really unexpected, beautiful warm colors. This palette is gorgeous. Really unexpected. So we talk a lot about texture and layering of textures. You see that here in these materials and finishes. It's not super slick, right? We're like way far away from minimalism now. We're moving into a place that's like living in the space. Beautiful, maximalist, if you will, warm color. Justina Blakeney, I don't know if you guys know Jungalow. She's in Target now. She's kind of everywhere, but she's taken this tropical maximalism thing and exploded it, and it's gorgeous. And again, there's like no rules here, right? But it's you're putting your editorial take on a space. It's not just perfection, right? It's putting a mark and a creative side to this. Gorgeous colors, natural materials, caning. And that was Lore. So love this palette. This red does not represent well in this image, but it's a beautiful like ochre red that is really usable. I love it. One to pay attention to. I don't know that I'm ready to do a red room red, but like maybe on some cabinetry or a vanity in a bathroom could be really beautiful. Our third palette is Nexus, and here we're talking about really the inspiration of energy. You see the palette here. This is where our color of the year comes from. These like very sandy, soft tones, right? Like this just feels very welcoming, very cozy. Energy sources, right? This is about wellness. So coming out of the pandemic, everybody was focused on mental health and well-being and taking care of yourselves. That was really sort of what we talked about when we were forecasting for 2023, and that need for sort of self-care. From a materials standpoint, you see very natural, very matte. There's matte all over the show, right? So that surface is going to continue. Again, the idea of these oxidized metals, sort of encrusted. Laser etched, so technology has taken natural materials to a new level. So you see the perfection of the laser etching, but it's a sanded material, so it's very tactile. Cork, sustainable materials. Again, stone's always in a trend forecast. It never really goes away, but again, it's that monolithic shape and form in these beautiful soft colors. Tactile stone, I think it's really funny. A couple of designers have come to me recently and asked about faux finishes. So for those that remember faux finishes, like Venetian plaster, and like, we haven't talked about that in a really, really long time. So again, that's my boss, my old boss there, and he's laughing. He's like, no, we're not doing faux finish again. But again, it's starting to like something to pay attention to, you know? Here's the natural wood. So the wood tones look a little pink in this slide, but what they are is they're not pickled, they're fumed. So it's almost like you took smoke and like put it over a wood surface and it becomes something a little more ethereal, very much lighter. You see a lot of wood tones here. That will continue. Warm minimalism. So it's not stark and it's soft. It's rounded edges, very sculptural shape. Warm patina, sort of amorphic shapes. And you get the idea that this is, it's kind of like an 80s modernism vibe, but it's done in this like bohemian, warm, sort of laser cut way. And then I love these slides, they're really beautiful. So totem lamps, like large installation lamps that are over the top, large scale. Natural materials, warm colors. Beautiful slides. Again, nothing is really stark here. There's no right angles, right? I mean, you see the softness and sculpture in the shape. Hand of the artist, beautiful pattern. Gorgeous shapes, colors. That's from Neocon, so that was almost like a commercial application. But again, you see these colors time and again when you walk through design shows. These are really on the rise. These are sort of a global point of view on these colors. I'm going fast, so we'll keep it moving. Natural, again, like there's nothing hard here. This is very soft, right? This is almost, well, here is a little bit, but you get the idea, like that's almost Art Deco, but this volume is like amorphic, right? It's really human. It's about this human side. More slab construction, deep dark veining. Beautiful shapes, and these are recent applications. So even in renovation and new projects, the designers are going really. They're leaning into this sort of warmth and texture. I love the tile in that bathroom. It's not terracotta. It's really kind of pink and coral. It looks beautiful. And this is a designer from the Ukraine, and just this is so editorial and amazing. I just love the warmth of this shot. So that is where our color of the year comes from. So again, this idea of warmth. I will tell you, browns are on the rise in a big way. So whether it's terracotta tones, these mocha tones, or deeper, darker browns, you're going to start to see them in all the magazines that we're looking at. And so that was really the point of pulling a color of the year that's so warm into our collection. We were green last year. We wanted to shift into like really talking about these warm tones. Very soothing, very calming. It's a beautiful color. Here's a pattern of accent colors that work really well with it. So you see a balance of warm and cool. Again, this color carnelian is one to pay attention to. It's beautiful. We put it on cabinets to just show like how versatile and different it can be. We also have seen this in so many commercial applications as well, from hospitality to healthcare. Really a color to pay attention to, these rose tone neutrals. Here's a slide from our wood group. We actually put this finish on cabinets and wood tone. So again, it's almost like this blushing expression, but it looks really, really beautiful and soft. And then here is our coatings division. So we're seeing this on applications, everything from consumer electronics to plumbing and hardware to natural stone. Again, this idea that this color is going to continue in an appreciable way in all sorts of surfaces. And then clay is a new neutral. So again, we're cycling out of gray and moving into something that's warmer. So these tones are going to be more and more apparent in interiors moving forward. So that was Nexus. And our final palette is Origin. So Origin was inspired by Bright, sort of Memphis design. You know, we know that there's a resurgence of these accent colors in small pops. So we took a neutral palette of neutrals here on the bottom with these pops of color. And the thinking is, you know, as we're trying to rediscover what a hybrid life is, we want to sort of live boldly, we want to go for it, and that was really inspiration here. And you can see it in the material finishes. Inspired by some gemstones, the idea like sweetened shears, lots of these dichroic finishes and all sorts of surfaces, inspiring these really sweet colors. Sunset, ombre, so from purple to orange to yellow is going to be not a key finish, but something to watch as the idea of self-expression and brighter color comes forward. Kinechromatic effects, color and inspiration in technology and products in unexpected ways. Again, just inspiring color and creative expression. Our wood tone, we're not necessarily seeing bright colors, but you're seeing a lot of transition, a lot of cerusing, a lot of like touches in wood that are really unexpected. Reclaiming shapes and furniture. This is a Bethan Gray piece of furniture. It's probably a $15,000 console, but done in these over-the-top bright colors. That's really unexpected. So designers are taking risks. Color infused. Again, this sort of sweetly infused. That's where a lot of the pastels that you're even seeing here at the show are coming from. This idea of, pastels are for everybody, but you're seeing them in small details in these materials and finishes, retro prints. Pop motifs. I wouldn't go here right away, but it's pretty amazing. This is a British designer that is going to be, he's all over social media. He's doing amazing work. And in the residential space. So really unexpected. Rhythmic lines. Again, this sort of uplifting sunset hues. And then finally, we'll show some installation. So from furniture and accents to materials, like bright, bold pops of color, balanced with neutrals, the idea of cozy van life, getting out there, let's go. We all are working in crazy environments, not necessarily in the office anymore. So how do we personalize our spaces? This is a designer out of LA, Leah Ring. This is a brand new apartment that she designed for her client. Again, like embracing the 80s Memphis style and doing it in a new and fresh way. Pinterest inspiration, right? So design and details really being pulled out in creative colors. This is a dollhouse designed by Louis Vuitton. So really, teeny scale, but bright, bold colors. Again, the Galori, like doing amazing installations in bright color. It's energetic to see. It's not for everybody, but it's just good that this is part of our vocabulary again in color. Mid-century style is not dead. It's definitely resurging. So the idea of nostalgia is sort of being reinvented and bringing classic design back into the forefront. So B&B Italia launched a sofa or chair in 1972, and now it's being brought forward, but in brighter colors. This is a new apartment in Palm Beach. Again, that fusion of old and new, bright and clean with color. Some crazy products. This was from a Parisian report, right? I don't know if I'm going to put the furry chair anywhere, but it's really editorial and cool to see. So again, these are new projects. This was in Arc Digest last summer. So again, projects embracing these brighter, deeper colors done with mid-century style to sort of create this new cool vibe. And that was Origin. So that was very fast. I went fast through it. But I wanted to have time to take some questions before we're done. So anybody have anything they want to know about color? Or all right, we got one in the back.
I have a question. It's on.
Okay.
You talked a lot about color as far as taking risk and that homeowners are ready for it.
Yes.
What is your advice for getting them, like for those just starting to add color? Like, how do you dip a toe into taking some of these risks?
So I think a good way to start is in small doses, like an accent wall or a kitchen island or a vanity, or I call them like peekaboo rooms, like adjacent rooms to your main living spaces, a foyer, like a small foyer in an old home, or a half bath, where you can really encourage your clients to try something new and take a risk on color and do something more vibrant, but it's not something that you have to live in every day. And it's a good way to get used to color, and then all of a sudden you see more and more elements coming in that sort of coordinate. And I think that's a great way to start. And often what we recommend, maybe doors, paint your doors a color versus, an all white interior. All right, well, we have some materials that we can pass out. We've got some brochures of these colors, so you can actually see them, and some fun color of the year nail polish if you want some. And that's it.
Nail polish sounds super fun. No, thank you so much, Sue. That was great. We always joke the favorite white is a good one, and then the architect's favorite color is
gray.
Black or gray.
Black or gray.
One of the options.
We try. That's why they need designers.
Exactly.
Architects need designers.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Wonderful. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Thanks for coming. I appreciate your time.